on this episode of EdTech, we're going to be talking about service level agreements, the hows, the whys, the whos. And we're going to be talking about this with Scott Tyner and Ernie Bailey. All this and more on EdTech.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is EdTech, episode 67, SLAs, the how and why.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Extron Electronics.
This is EdTech, the monthly EdTech, higher ed tech podcast. I'm your host, Bill O'Donnell, and this month I'm joined by Scott Tyner. Hello, sir.
Hey, Bill. And up here in Maine, where we got snow this morning, and we stayed up very late to watch the Red Sox.
Oof. As I say, I walked out this morning. It was the first time in a while I've had to break out the polar fleece jacket. I believe it was a nice balmy 45. For Scott, that would almost be a heat wave at this point.
Oh, yeah. I strapped on my bean boots this morning.
Hey. And as always, we have Mr. Ernie Bailey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. It's balmy 57 degrees here in Little Rock.
Jeez.
We put our heavy coats at that temperature. So
He's like, oh, any colder, I'm going to have to put on the parka. Anyway. Well, what can I say, folks? Fall is here and winter is coming, and no, that's not a promo. Anyway, first off on our articles we're going to be looking at today, it is through avnetwork.com, and that is Peerless AV added a new universal projector mount to their heavy-duty model line. Now, what that means is this: if you've never seen these things, quaintly, the first ones that came out were kind of referred to as the spider mounts. They are kind of the you can put there are about 4 arms there, and you can just about position them just about anywhere, and most of the better ones usually have a security screw set or a security feature set of some sort. Before that, the wonderful world of you would go and look up the projector model you were looking for, and you would order it, and it would be the most custom cut piece of sheet metal you'd ever seen. If you were lucky enough, it usually had a powder coat on the thing, and there were 4 screws that were bolted / heavy duty glued or soldered into that plate. So my question to this article, and I'll shoot this to Ernie first, and then we'll go to Scott. I almost want to go and say, cool. Welcome to 2018. Who's still buying custom mounts?
we haven't bought custom mounts in years. We used to, buy a mount. In fact, we would often buy the mount directly from the projector manufacturer or the display manufacturer, but it wouldn't work with, the next model that came out that, there was a slight change in the color of the projector. But they moved the mounting holes, so you had to buy a whole new mounting set. So, we've been going with universals for many years now. I like them. We keep all the extra parts that come in the box. We just have a big drawer that's sorted by manufacturer, so we can go find the right size screw or an extra arm or leg if we need it to attach what we need.
At its worst, it's a quick run to the hardware store.
That's right. We try not to do those. But we go with universal mounts. They're good, high quality. Scott has some comments. I'll let him share those here in a minute about, some of the downfalls of them. But the good ones hold up, I think, and we haven't had any serious problems.
Yeah. Now I will say this: if and God help me if you're still doing these, good on you. In the days of like the rear projection rooms, those would be the times when you would get the custom mount, because at the same time you also had a custom frame. Now, if you ever seen these things, it usually had sometimes one mirror, or if you were really stacked if you were really crunched for space, there would be 2 mirrors.
Yeah.
But that's the only time really I would end up seeing custom frames, because the whole thing was a custom job.
Right. We do have a couple of mirrored rear projection systems. And yes, we order a specific mount. In fact, we generally have the manufacturer ship a projector to the mount company.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make one specifically for us that matches the mirror that we've already got.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then they send us a collection of parts and instruction assemblies. And
Like an erector set?
always an erector set. And we found out the last one that we bought, the horizontal and vertical pieces were a 1/16 of an inch difference in length.
Good times.
And the first mount, our guys didn't pay real close attention. And it was not my staff, it was an integrator doing it.
Mm.
And it took them 3/4 of a day to put the first saddle on the projector for the mount. The second one took 45 minutes. But they tried every possible combination of putting the thing together to make it fit the projector.
Both the horizontal and the vertical.
Yes. And they looked at the little bitty lines on the tape measure,
That little bitty lines.
Yeah. Oh, that is a joy. Quick thing on this one. It is whenever you end up doing, if you still have rear projection rooms and everything, you have the sled setups. I did work for a company once that said, "Oh yeah, no, we're just changing out projectors, no problem." And I went, "Oh, is this coming back from the sled folks and everything?" They said, "No, you're just going to go in there and change it yourself." I went, "Okay." And that was real fun because not only were we changing manufacturers, this went from a Epson to a Sony projector. On top of that, it also was a completely different throw distance. And this was one of those projectors that did not have the bayonet lenses. It was the fixed zoom. And I'm pretty sure part of my soul is still trapped in that little room at Deutsche Bank down in Lower Manhattan. But we'll keep it to that. That's why when it comes to certain things like that, it's like no. That's where custom is totally allowed. So, Mr. Scott, your inputs on this?
Yeah, boy, we've been using universal projector mounts for years and years, and for us, it was mostly about when you're trying to run into a room and you get an hour because the projector blew up to switch out a new projector, and the mount doesn't fit. Now you got to take the whole mount off, or the mount fit, but the lens had moved a little left or a little right, and now you can't hit the screen anymore. Mm-hmm. So these were wonderful. I laugh at this story because you had earlier referred to these as the old spider mounts, and this one actually has 6 arms that you can attach to it. So it must be very. You need a lot of time with a screwdriver to get all those screws in the right place. The one thing I did like about this that I had mentioned earlier is that I think that it talks about lockable screws and the like to prevent small shifts in image, or what they call projector sag. And that's my only issue with the adjustable mounts, is that there's so many moving pieces that, particularly with heavy projectors, over time they sometimes seem to move a little bit. And for those of us who are OCD AV people, and you walk in and you see a little bit of that image off the screen, you just can't put up with it.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, who has to take care of some of the auditoriums, and every now and then it's like, oh yeah, no, we just bumped up to the next model, and you realize very quickly that by next model we meant we actually shifted the lens from the left side to the right side, and you're just looking, going, okay, all right. And that's also in the same category as why here on campus we mostly have Chief for 2 reasons. One is the fact that the lateral shift bars at times have been a bit of a godsend, although they do lower it down, which goes to the keystoning realm. But I'm not going to go down that path. The other thing, though, is that one of the things that we liked about it is that we actually got into the the locking universal mounts, which for us, it's just a quick key turn, pop the latch, take the old projector down, put the new projector up, and we don't have the oh so wonderful Kensington lock cable that's going around the pole. Like I said, it's one of those ones you look and you say, "Oh, cool. How's it up? How do you make sure folks don't steal it?" I'm like, "Go ahead and try and steal it. See what happens." No. In all honesty, we actually had a room that was sectioned off during renovations because capital plans swore up and down, "Oh yeah, no, this isn't going to get touched." Okay, fine, no problem. We left everything in there thinking it's going to be sealed. We come back, the entire podium's been gutted like a fish, and the projector is still on the pipe. We looked and we're like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, look, let's see, they bothered to take the Crestron DM box and they couldn't get the projector off to the mount. Man, I gotta go write a thank you letter to Chief." So, good on them for that. So yeah, that's just one of those things, folks. It's listen, I get it. If you've got a digital projection Titan or one of the God series kind of things, I can totally understand that because, like you said, as I say, those are big, massive, fall on you and could kill you. And in the old, as I would put it, the old days of when we still had CRT projectors that had 3 barrels, which if anyone who's watching remembers, if you had to do the color calibration for that, it was like, well, I'm not doing anything for the next 20 minutes at least. And if it fell on you, it would kill you. Anyway, so
if you tried to pick it up, it might kill you as well.
Yes.
If you tried to lift it by yourself, it literally went like this. Hernia. Anyway. Anyways, so next up on the list is by our own Scott Tyner, entitled off of Rave Pubs, and that is entitled "Dashboarding Your Success." And Scott, you want to give us a little briefing on this one, and then we'll kind of dive into it.
Yeah, sure. So the column was just about a presentation that I was giving at CCUMC a few weeks ago, and it's about how at Bates we started using metrics and service level agreements to not only improve our operations, but to better explain our operations to the people in the organization, where we were succeeding, where we were not succeeding. It allows us to set expectations with our customers, set expectations with our the higher ups within Bates and within Bates IT. And there's a little bit there at the end about how we found ways to say we were going to hit these goals and have fun doing it and reward ourselves when doing it. And finally, I think one of the things that I ended the column with is the idea that if you're getting services from outside organizations, they really should be doing these dashboards for you as well, so you can, well, for them, that they can prove that they're providing you the services they say they're going to, and for you to be able to look at it and verify that.
Yeah, one of the bigger things that we've worked up on campus is, if you're not familiar with it, things like SLAs or service level agreements, service catalogs, they do a big service to both your IT and your AV organization, mostly in the fact that it says we will go up to this level, or if we install it, we do this, we cover X, Y, and Z. It's essentially like, if you buy a car, they go, "Oh yeah, here's the powertrain warranty." Okay, well, that covers what this is. Hey, my tires are shredded. Well, whose fault was that? It's not really the manufacturer's kind of thing. But my question to you is, Scott, and this actually probably helps things out a little bit. Being that a lot of schools have consolidated their support groups and everything, do you guys have both a AV help desk or an IT help desk, or is it all one the same, or how do you guys differentiate this out?
Yeah, we changed that about a year and a half ago. We had some retirements at Bates. I moved into a new role, and so that I actually now oversee the help desk and the classroom technology. So up until that time, our classroom technology had a completely separate number that people would call. Since then, we've moved that number to the central help desk, so that we can, one of our goals here at Bates is to tell everybody, you have any question about anything with IT, you call the help desk, and we give out the number. So our help desk technicians do receive those calls, and they will directly contact one of our AV technicians. So the jobs don't completely mix and match. That is, our AV techs are our AV techs, and they don't go fix computer calls, and our help desk techs are computer techs, and they don't go fix AV calls. I think there's still that. There's enough unique knowledge between the two jobs still that it doesn't make a lot of sense to intermingle. But at least that piece of there's a central place you call. All of our AV tickets, for example, go into our ticket management system. And so that's how we can record and track data for what we're doing there.
Now, everyone and that's the other thing too. Does everyone, like, once the ticket's in, is in our case, we just tell everyone, oh yeah, here, we use like web help desk. And like, if you have a problem or anything like that, put the ticket in. Oh, but I told you and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's like right now where you and I are having a conversation. You can tell me this, and then all of a sudden I go, right, I got to get back to making a parts list for this project or figuring out what's going on with this code or whatnot. And it's like, and it's out of sight, out of mind. The moment it goes into the ticketing system, everybody sees it, and there's now a tracker on it, and you can actually see just how long everything took, or at least where was the holdup.
Absolutely. And I think that for a lot of organizations, I mean, we've talked about this for 15 years, the whole AV IT integration
Convergence
has been really tough for some people. And I know even here at Bates, it was, well, what if the help desk doesn't answer the phone when there's a classroom emergency? And the answer is, well, we're going to work through that. We're going to make sure that the help desk does answer the phone. But exactly what you just said is, once they start doing that and saying to somebody, great, I'll have this conversation with you, Bill. When you leave here, you need to email the help desk, because like you just said, that's going to put a ticket in. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to update that ticket. We look at the dashboard every morning, and everybody's going to know 2 weeks from now if I haven't responded to that ticket yet. And it's the best, easiest way to keep track of that stuff.
And that's the thing that it also keeps everyone honest. And so for example, a couple of folks have said, oh, this has never worked and this and that. And we actually asked the guy, like, have you ever put a ticket in? And he's like, well, no, because nothing ever gets done. And I've said, oh, no. Here, I can actually show you, like, per room, how many rooms have had issues, which folks have put in the most amount of tickets and everything else. And my all-time best, we were it was a science tutoring center. And the lady went, oh, I don't put tickets in. And the other tutor just literally turned her head and went and said, they're not mind readers. You have to tell them this stuff. Otherwise, they're not going to know. Like, the Crestron systems doesn't tell us, oh, hey, this done messed up. And,
that's an amazing part, because it helps both sides, right, with what you just said, which is, every time I walk into that room, I have a problem. Okay, let's look up those tickets so we can find out what's going on in that room. Oh, wait, there's no tickets for that room. Yes. Are you telling us? How do we know, we're not mind readers?
And Ernie, I can see you kind of laughing there and everything, in which it's I'm sure folks have said, this room has never worked. And you're like,
that's right.
Go ahead.
Never told us.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's just user training that needs to take place. We have dual help desk. We have an overall IT help desk. Of course, we have an integrated hospital. Mm-hmm. So priority one means something different in the hospital than it does in a classroom. Yeah. But our two help desks do communicate well with each other. If someone in a classroom calls the IT help desk, they'll create a ticket, and then they'll both forward it and call our help desk. We use the same ticketing system, so the tickets are shared. Okay. It just has to be assigned to the AV group. So we work that way. If class is in session and having an issue, it gets a priority one. Same thing if a patient care issue takes place, that's also a priority one. But they're dealt with differently, and we have similar but slightly different SLAs for each area. And
The thing I want to actually ask about with you, Ernie, is this: is that when you guys have two separate help desks and everything, as I say, now can both of them still see, oh, hey, I forwarded this over to this group and everything? Can they at least still see, what the progress was? Because
yes, I can follow any ticket on campus.
Okay.
But especially those that have AV flagged to them or that have any of my people's names on them. And it's the same thing with the IT help desk.
Okay, because you know as well as I do that there are some clients who will be like, "Hey, what's the status of this?" And you go, "Well, I handed it off to so and so." Yeah, but I'm asking you, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah. Well, here I can pull up.
If you tell me the issue, I can call it up. If I have the ticket number, I call it up real fast. If not, I can still look it up by room number or issue. If it's if they say the same thing to me they said to the person that took the ticket, I can look up the keywords. Similar to what Scott was saying, you just call the help desk and we'll take care of whatever. Our AV help desk does kind of that with the classrooms, Yes, our job is the projectors, the displays, the microphones, the codecs. But if they have a problem with the computer, we do tier 1 support on the computers. We'll go in and try to take care of them. And we work real closely with the workstation support team that can get somebody in there. Not as quick as we can get AVTech in there, but we can start the process and be on the phone with them, and they can talk us through a lot of the issues that we have. But if the temperature is uncomfortable in the room, or housekeeping hasn't been there, or the air handler is making a loud noise, we will take those calls and we'll deal with them. We will track our campus operations group uses a different ticketing system, but we track those as well at our help desk if they have anything to do with classroom issues. So when I go back to meet with our leadership team every month, our advisory group, and I say, the temperature's been wrong in these rooms every day, I can say, you haven't called us about it, or we only took one call that was yesterday. That wasn't all month, where you called us and told us, and we called it in, and then here's the response we got back from engineering and operations on it.
So the fans have been squeaking ever since I get in there. You just put the ticket in 48 hours ago.
Right.
We're working its way through. Yeah, that's one of those things that it's some folks go, well, I should just call up and have it and do this. And I'm going, yeah. And you know what? Perfect example was actually this today. We actually had an adjunct faculty member who we went to a smaller form PC and everything. And there's only 4 USB ports on the thing. It's the little Dell 7040. It's the micro. It's about the size of a sandwich.
We're going to those next round.
Yeah. So the thing is that we've been putting them into these credenzas, and part of it is the credenzas don't actually have pocket doors, so they can't actually slide back, so they're open all the time. And if they close it, wham goes the thumb drive. So as our means of mediating this, we went and said, you know what, we'll put a ticket in with the help desk folks, and we're going to have all the keyboards changed out to where they have 2 USB ports up top. To make life easier, right? Well, the gentleman comes in today and he goes, yeah, that didn't work. I'm like, what do you mean it didn't work? And it turns out that the wireless clicker he's using, he plugs it in, and the first message he gets off the screen is that it's drawing too much power. I kind of looked and I went, it's a clicker. How much power could this draw? But at the same time, we kind of looked at it, and now, I said, well, can you put a ticket in for this and everything? He's like, yeah, but I just told you. I said, yeah, I know. I put the ticket in last time. You need to put the ticket in, because that way it's actually coming from an outside source, and it's not just me going, rah, 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 rah. So we're doing that, and more than likely the sneaking suspicion I think we're going to end up having to go is probably having to put a powered USB hub probably either at we have the little wall plates, or we just end up putting a USB extension cord of some sort. Yeah. Either way, it's a fix, but believe me, I would never have known that a wireless USB clicker would draw that much power off a keyboard cable. But them's the USB breaks. Yeah. But like I said, that's the power of the ticketing system. In that we're not omnipotent, we're not omnipresent, which also coincidentally doesn't make you a Greek god. So yay for that. But that's how it is. All right, guys, we're coming up on the time here. So, Mr. Scott, where can the fine folks find you at?
I'm fairly active on Twitter at @STeiner, and you can find me on LinkedIn. Always like new connections on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. And Mr. Ernie, where can they find you at?
You find me on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, there we go. Well, I'm Bill O'Donnell. That is EdTech for you. EdTech, a part of the AVNation podcast family. Once again, this is EdTech.